Your Option Monster Volatility Sonar Report. From the floor of the CBOE, I'm Jamie Tyrrell with Group 1 Trading. Well, we're getting back into the swing of things now with April as the front month in the VIX. The market is down small today. Citigroup, AIG, all having slight pullbacks after a big rally led the way yesterday. The market's down about 1%. VIX is sitting around the same, up a bit. The big action today so far has been in April. We've talked about how the last 2 days, those May and June 35, 45, 55 call butterflies have really dominated the landscape. We're continuing to see a lot of butterfly action in the VIX, but people have turned their attention to the new front month, April. The one call butterfly we saw go up this morning was the April 45, 47.5, 50 call butterfly. There was a buyer once again buying the 45s, buying the 50s, selling two 47.5s, paying 22.5 cents. So the maximum value of that fly is $250 if we settle at 47.5, and they paid 22.5 on 1,200. Another strategy we saw employed this morning was a Christmas tree trade. Now in a Christmas tree, you are buying one strike or selling, and then buying the other two or selling those. So in this case, the customer was selling the Christmas tree. So they sold the April 45 call, and then they bought the April 65 and 70 call. Now, a Christmas tree is an interesting way for customers to play skew, or difference in the volatilities between strikes. So in this case, this customer is selling the at-the-money strike, or close to at-the-money, the 45s, and buying some upside units, the 65s and the 70s. They could be looking for protection on their upside in the case of a big move to the upside, or they can just think that the upside units are undervalued as compared to the at the monies. So they sold this for $175. They sold it 3,000 times, and that's 9,000 total contracts. That's what we've seen mostly in the VIX today. I wanted to bring up the VXX ETN. It's been setting volume records day after day lately, and we're seeing more and more trading. Today there has been 400,000 contracts traded, 400,000 shares of the ETN traded in the first 3.5 hours of the trading day. Now, because of the size of the ETN, that 400,000 contracts is roughly equivalent to 1,000 VIX futures in power that they've moved back and forth. So right now that VXX ETN is comprised of predominantly April VIX future and a small piece of May. And as we get further into this expiration cycle, it will get more and more May into it. And by the time we hit April expiration, that ETN will be entirely reflected of the May future. So it's important to note, just like the futures, the VIX futures, the VXX ETN does not track the cash. Rather, it tracks a combination of the first 2-month futures. Right now, predominantly April, some May, slowly moving towards all May before April expiration. So that's what we got here. Jamie Tyrrell, Group 1 with Option Monster.
Hey Jamie, thanks. Folks, if you watch Jamie every day talk about the VIX and the volatilities, and you're wondering, boy, I'd like to take advantage of some of that information, I just am sort of new to options and so forth. What better way to do it, folks, than with something like a paper trade? By the way, a paper trade is not any capital commitment. In fact, our sister company, TradeMonster, you can open a paper trading account without even funding the account. So all you got to do is go to TradeMonster.com, you fill out just your name and so forth, bang, you're able to trade on paper. It's not real capital you're putting on the line, but then take a look at all these different strategies. I mean, you can do covered calls, you can do straddles, you can do strangles, you can do all these different strategies, and it's got a tutorial built into each one that you can actually learn. Again, always learn before you commit your capital to it. I'm Dr. J from OptionMonster.com. Remember, our sister company TradeMonster and that paper trading account, make sure you open an account and try it out.